Hey guys, welcome back to the Next Brave Step podcast. I am your host, Chelsy Wise, and I'm so thrilled for you to join me on today's episode. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about marketing. We haven't really touched on that too much this season, but I'm really excited to kind of share some trends that I have seen in my own social media, as well as what I've kind of been hearing out and about for trends for 2024. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. So basically, what we're talking about today is face-to-face interactions on social media. And there's been a lot of things recently, especially with Reels, that you are just putting like B-roll over with music over it and words on it. And I think that that's still going to be relevant. Like, I think that's still going to be something that we see moving forward. But there has been a very big uptick in my social media lately of interaction and traction on Reels that I have done where I'm literally just talking to the camera about whatever it is that I'm talking about, whether it is promoting a podcast episode that has just come out or a blog post or just telling a story. Those Reels have really been performing very well. If you see this plant shaking back here, it's not a waving fern. My dog's kennel is underneath it, and he's moving around in there. So my plant may be waving at you, but really it's my dog being all goofy. Are you going to be good, sir? Okay. He just had a lick mat and is like trying to get all of the pumpkin and yogurt off of his face and peanut butter, because I thought that would maybe tire him out a little bit so that he would be chill. But I might have just created more of a problem for myself, but that is okay. If you want to see my dog, if you've never seen him before, I did get a new puppy this summer. His name is Trip. He is a multi-generational golden doodle, which means that both of his parents were golden doodles. He's like going to be a medium-sized one, so he's about as big as he's going to get, which is about that 35-pound mark. And he's super cute and lives up to his name and will trip you all the time because he wants to be right up underneath your feet. But I will post a photo of him down below in the show notes over on the blog. If you want to see that, you can also check him out on my social media, Chelsy Wise, everywhere on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all the places. So back to the episode here. Oh, I also want to mention that I'm going to have a really awesome download for you to go along with this episode. So it's going to be on 30 Instagram story ideas. So if you want to go ahead and go download that right away, you sure can. Otherwise, I'll talk a little bit more about it later on in the episode. But I was really kind of trying to figure out, like, what do I say to people? Like, I wanted to have like a list of things. And so I created this for myself and I've been using it. But I wanted to make it for you guys as well. So that is going to be a free download. All you have to do is go to the show notes below and you can get access to that. Just pop your email address in and I will send it on over to you. Okay. So one of the things that is no secret, video has definitely been something that has been pushed on a lot of different platforms. It is king on Instagram for sure. Facebook, not quite as much, but it's definitely relevant there. And TikTok, it's the only really mode of conversation or of transportation there. And I think what we're starting to see on Instagram is a little bit of TikTok influence. So TikTok has definitely been a place that has not been quite as polished as Instagram. And I think that's why a lot of creators really enjoyed that space. But I think it's finally starting to bleed over into Instagram a little bit. And I am here for it. I love all the polished and perfect things, but I also want to just be real and myself and show up on a Thursday night at 7:30 at night. I do have some nice lighting here, but I'm just sitting on my couch recording this podcast episode, and there will definitely be reels from this episode that will go out for sure. So if you want to check those out, check them out on my socials. But I think that is where we're starting to see things. We're starting to see TikTok bleed over into Instagram a little bit. And the power of like talking directly to camera. I know it's scary. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it is a very, very powerful tool in your toolbox that is available to you. One of the things that it really does well is it really helps to solidify the know, like, trust factor. So when your customers or potential customers feel like they know who you are, they trust like that you have valuable content for them, and they like you, they are way more apt to purchase from you, not just once, but over and over again. And that purchase also means booking you as your photographer or purchasing those earrings from your Etsy shop. People like to see the person behind the brand now, and that social media is giving us the ability to do that, especially when you can talk face to face to someone that way. So one of the things that talking face to face to video also does is it really creates authenticity. And it's kind of the thing that everybody is craving. I think I was looking or watching, I don't know if it was TikTok or Instagram stories or something, but one of the interior designers that I follow was talking about her predictions for 2024. And one of the things that she really thinks is going to kind of phase out is a little bit of the minimalist stuff. And it's going to be replaced with just like the lived in look. And she really attributed that to social media, where content creators are creating content in their own homes with their real houses behind them, like mess and all. And I think that's awesome. Like, I think that's really, really exciting to see coming down the trends, because I don't know, I'm craving more authenticity and showing, not feeling like the pressure to show up perfectly with makeup on, which if you like watch my Instagram stories, I don't do that. I haven't for a while. You will see me in a messy bun with my glasses on and probably no makeup 90% of the time. And that's okay. That's me. I'm still showing up, not perfectly, but consistently. Remember, we're not confusing perfection with consistency. So how do you get started with showing up with your face on camera? Because I know it's scary. Your internal monologue will start to go off on you. And if you haven't listened to the episode on why words matter, I think it's coming up before this one. Maybe not. But if not, just go check out the episode on why your words matter, and you will see give you some tools on how to combat the inner critic that can very quickly take over when you start to step out of your comfort zone. So the first thing that I would suggest doing is just practice getting in front of the camera. You don't have to post everything that you record, but you can just set up your phone and record yourself. First thing I would do is clear off your camera lens on your phone. So like wipe off the front of it or the back of it, because so often we have like just face oils and stuff on there. And sometimes that's why your videos aren't as sharp or as clean as they could be. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to clear off your lens for your camera, especially if you're using your front-facing camera, rear-facing camera, the one where you can see yourself. You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, okay. So once you've cleared that off, the next thing I would do is get into some good lighting. So what does good lighting look like? Essentially, you want even light. If you have a ring light, awesome, use it. Be that person. Or you can just have an open window or a window in front of you. That's great as well. You don't want bright, shining direct light. Soft light, perfect, just inside the shadow. If it's even, better. So if you have really strong light from overhead, you're going to get those shadows and bags under your eyes. If you have light that's coming right at your face, you're going to eliminate those shadows. If you want to use a filter, use a filter. If you don't want to use a filter, you don't have to use a filter. That really, I think, is coming down to personal preference. For a long time, people were going real heavy with the filters, and then it kind of backed off for a little bit. Now people are using them again. I really think it just comes down to personal preference. I do have a couple that I tend to use every time, mostly because it gets rid of the under eye bags for me, which I'm a little self-conscious about. I'm not gonna lie. I'm using the retinol. I'm using the hyaluronic acid to, make myself look a little bit more awake. But yeah, you want to clear off your camera, find some good light, plan out what you want to say. And this comes back to the story ideas that I was talking about for the download. Plan out what it is that you want to share. Do you want to share something about a product that you sell? Do you want to share a behind the scenes stories about, the creation of a product? Do you want to share a tip or a fact or answer a frequently asked question? Those are all really great things that you can answer face to face with facing your camera. And it really helps to establish you as an authority in your field or in your industry. And it really helps people, do that like, no, trust factor, start to understand who you are and decide whether or not they like you and trust you and if they want to purchase from you. It's not going to be something that you're going to see results from right away. I will be honest. You might see results on some of your reels, like having more views and stuff. You might not get purchases or sales from it right off the bat, but you might. This thing really is kind of a little bit more of a long game, but don't discount it because it has a lot of power to it. It's also why you see a lot more podcasts, especially even this one, who are starting to incorporate video in it. You've been listening to my voice for years now, and now you can tune in to the podcast on YouTube and check out the video. Also, did you know that on Apple Podcasts, you can watch the video? I did not realize that until a few weeks ago, but if you click on the episode, it'll say video, and if you click on that episode while it's playing, all of a sudden my video pops up and you can see me. So if you just did that on your phone, hi, welcome to my living room. Super excited for you to be here. That is something that a lot of podcasters are doing, is starting to use video, and it's because video has so much power to it. You can reuse this content for reels. You can basically do so many extra things just by turning on a camera to record the thing you were already recording, which is why part of the reason why I have added into the podcast this season as well. So yes, make sure that you have good light. Make sure that you've cleaned off your phone camera. Practice what you're going to say, or write out what you're going to say. The other thing that I would suggest that you're doing is, once you have recorded your story, is you want to trim those 2 or 3 seconds at the beginning where you're not saying anything, because you're a millennial like me and you have what's called a millennial pause. It's a thing. Apparently, we millennials will just look at the phone before we actually start talking for a second, where Gen Z will just start talking right away. And it's not that big of a deal if you are doing more of a long form content, but with your Instagram stories, you have 15 seconds, 30 seconds. I don't know what it is. You have seconds. You don't have minutes to work with. So each one of those seconds count. So trim the end of it so that people aren't just sitting there waiting for it, because unfortunately we live in a world where people want instant, all of the things. Snap, snap, snap. Can you snap really loud? I can snap super loud with my right fingers, but not with my left. But dang, that's loud. Okay, sorry. Hopefully I didn't just annoy the crap out of you guys. Another thing that talking face-to-face camera is really great for sharing personal stories. And you don't have to be super personal. You don't have to do all of the things. But you can pull back the curtain on who you are as a business owner, or influencer, or any of the things, to really kind of let people in. And I think this is the hill that I'm going to die on. And that is that vulnerability is truly the key to everything. You have to be able to show up and say, I am not perfect. Not everything is perfect all the time, but I'm working on it. And this is what I'm working on. And this is the results that I'm getting. or this is how I'm feeling and this is why I'm feeling it, in order to build the connections, in order to build the business. Like, vulnerability, I really truly believe, is the cement that binds everything together to make it stronger. If you have not read the book Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, such an amazing book. I love it. I actually just bought a copy of that book for a dear friend of mine and said, please read this and then take some notes in it and then give it to your husband and have him read it, because I think the both of you should learn some things from this. So I'm excited for her to dig into that. I also had my boyfriend read that book maybe 2 years ago now, somewhere around there. He listened to it on Audible. But it really set the foundation for our relationship. And oh my goodness, I am so glad that we did. So that is a little bit more about engaging with your audience and, sharing personal stories. It really does help to strengthen your relationship. The other thing about face-to-face videos is it starts to create this two-way conversation with your audience. And that can be super, super powerful. Whether you are thinking about launching a new product or a new offering, having a two-way communication where you can say, hey, I'm thinking about this thing. What do you guys think? And actually get feedback from it. If you are not consistently talking to your audience, even about the everyday stuff, they're probably not going to respond to you when you do need to ask them a question, because they're just not used to interacting with you. So you do have to start, those interactions with the easy, fluffy stuff before you can ask them some of the harder questions. And it really, really, really is an awesome tool. It's great for creating content. So I have been putting polls out on Instagram, asking questions for some of these podcast episodes. One, to get ideas on what it is that you guys want to hear about, but also to ask questions to answer inside the podcast on specific topics. And that has been really, really fun to see what it is that you guys are struggling with, or what it is that you want to learn. It's really, really been exciting to have that conversation with you guys. So if you have not already downloaded the Creative Sparks 30 Instagram story ideas, you can get that in the show notes below. There will be a link for that. It is basically 30 days, an entire month's worth of ideas for you to talk about on Instagram stories. You don't have to be super ring light and polished, just makeup on all the time. Like, you can show up with a messy bun, foggy glasses like I did yesterday outside, and my nose itches so bad. When you get this list, you don't have to show up polished and perfect. You can show up just the way you are to start to build that relationship with your audience. So if you want this list of ideas, again, you can grab it in the show notes below. If you are listening to this podcast, I would love it if you could take a screenshot of it and share it on social media. Tag me or the podcast, and we will come check out your page. And I would love to connect with you guys on social media. We are still taking submissions and nominations for podcast guests. So if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, or someone who would be an awesome guest on the podcast, there will be another link below for you to nominate or apply to be on the show. We have some really, really, really great stuff lined up already, but we're looking to add some more to it. So if you are interested in being a part of this podcast, hit us up and I'd love to connect. All right, guys, that is it for today. I hope that you are feeling inspired and have a little bit more confidence and really understand the power that talking directly to camera can give you in your business, especially when it comes to marketing your business and strengthening that know, trust factor with your audience. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that I was also doing some research on this topic beforehand. Sort of accidentally wrote it at the end of my notes here instead of earlier on. But Instagram stories is the most has the most interaction between all of the different Instagram modes of communication. So that was super interesting. I was looking through some statistics on that, and there's a lot more interaction on stories than reels or posts. And you can also see like who's watching your stuff and really test out some ideas there. So do not skip on this. I hope that you try it. I would love to come watch your Instagram stories. So tag me below and I will come check it all out. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.